He is the most common old man on the streets of Germany. Every time he works at night shift, he is used to smoking in front of the company. When he enters the company lobby, he will cough constantly. The security guard on duty will make jokes with him every time. But this time, the security guard suddenly stopped him. It turned out that this time, the old man changed to a new treasure security guard, and just asked casually, which scared the old man out of a cold sweat. The old man was a night cleaner. He came to the top floor of the building. After greeting the security guard at the elevator entrance, he pushed the cleaning car into the office area. However, the security guard seemed to think that the old man was different from usual. But what was different? And he couldn't tell. It was already so late. The boss's son, Elia, still stayed in the company to teach the female subordinate. The old man silently glanced at it, then pushed the car into the unmanned office opposite. She turned on the vacuum cleaner switch and actually took out a pistol from the bag in the noise. The old man's goal was that Elia had been chasing her and shooting her. Elia fled into the safety stairs. The old man took his time and stood at the stairs with bated breath and aimed precisely. He shot Elia's car from the side and then fired another shot in her thigh. Arya shouted in fear and covered her head, but he didn't expect the old man's last shot to miss, leaving him alive. The old man quickly ran to the balcony. The police car and ambulance were running to the company. She dropped several smoke bombs downstairs, then hung a rope on the railing, rolled over, and jumped off the building, disappearing into the smoke. She returned to the hotel room, took out her false teeth in front of the mirror, tore off her hair and mask, and finally revealed her true face. This young and handsome man is a former legendary sniper of the British Army, and now he is nicknamed Chai Lang's top bounty killer. However, his mission this time has not failed. In a heavily guarded motorcade, I went to the hospital to visit my injured son Elia. At this time, Chai Lao, who was in the hotel room, took out a red paper windmill. He inserted the windmill on the balcony, tested the current wind speed, and then began to assemble weapons. All his weapons were hidden on the handheld suitcase. The bracket of the hand-pulled dry barrel suitcase formed the self-timer dry bracket of the gun body, which was used as the password of the gun drag suitcase. In a blink of an eye, Shiba Lang assembled the main rifle of the court, and the target he aimed at was the hospital entrance, 3,800 meters away. If he wasn't a professional assassinator, he might not know that the world was the farthest. The sniper record was created by Ukrainian sniper Vyacheslav Kowalski in 2023. The distance was 3,540 meters, and he used a professional sniper rifle, so Shiba Lang's assassination plan was as difficult as climbing to the sky, but Shiba Lang was calm. She moved slowly and put her heart on the hospital wall and tried to shoot the first bullet. 6 seconds later, a bullet hole appeared on the wall, but this bullet hole shifted his heart by more than 10 centimeters. According to this design, Shiba Lang fine-tuned the second design of the bomb island, and he was able to accurately sew the target. At this time, Manfred's motorcade had arrived at the hospital. It seemed that he didn't recruit ordinary people, and liked that the entrance of the hospital was full of people who opposed him. Therefore, in order to ensure his safety, the motorcade stopped directly at the entrance of the hospital. Manfred was accurately shot in the head, and the security captain quickly took out the high-back binoculars and looked up the opposite building. He saw a reflection in the room on the 16th floor of the opposite building. At this time, Chai Lang didn't withdraw the gun. She deliberately stopped for 3 seconds, as if the security captain found it, and then began to quickly dismantle the gun. She packed all her equipment and placed a time bomb in the house. He left from the safe passage and pressed the fire alarm button by the way. He drove away a Mercedes-Benz car and passed several speeding police cars. After that, he drove into another parking lot. He got off this classic 1986 Mercedes-Benz car, took his luggage, and changed to the Audi car that had been prepared next to him. At this time, the police cars under the Jubian continent that she had just left had surrounded the gate, and countless SK special police officers with shields rushed into the building. The special police officers broke into the building with guns. As a result, there was no bomb. The Mercedes-Benz car, worth more than 800,000 yuan in the parking lot, also suddenly exploded. All traces about Chai Lang were erased until night, and all borders in Germany began to be checked under martial law. At this time, Chai Lang had already suffered from a British-style leisure suit and took out his fake passport to the police for inspection. At this time, he had disguised himself as a businessman and talked with gold-rimmed glasses and elegant cancan. In Paris, France, he walked into the railway station with his suitcase that no customs could check out the problem. He went online in a cafe in the railway station and switched to his own security system with a USB flash drive. He used the proprietary network to contact the customer of the last task to collect the balance payment. While waiting for the customer's reply, he suddenly received a message from a stranger. It turned out that a new customer wanted to hire at a high price, but needed an interview. However, Chai Lang never met with customers. All transactions were conducted online, but he didn't expect this new customer to insist on meeting, and even directly offered a price of 10 million, which was the largest order in history. Chai Lang hesitated for a long time, and decided to fight against the money. He promised to meet, but the other party needed to pay an extra 500,000 yuan first. After meeting, he had to pay an extra 500,000 yuan, regardless of whether he cooperated or not. This was already a very harsh condition. However, he quickly got up and left. This is the third largest household in Sweden. Chai Lang, who likes birds, hid in the grass, watching the black brocade PT and waiting for the arrival of customers. Finally, a car drove to the park, and a strange woman got off the car. This is the person who wanted to meet Chai Lang. The woman walked into a bird-watching house, and Chai Lang came out. Cautiously behind him, he asked the woman not to turn around and talked with his back to him. Shiba Lang finally learned from the other party's mouth that the new assassination mission was the target of the richest technology tycoon in Europe at present, Uladag Charles. But this person's security was the top-notch, and it was not so easy to do. Even 10 million Shiba Lang felt that it was low, so she directly quoted 100 million. The woman seemed to be just the spokesperson of a power. She couldn't sit down and decide that she needed to go back to discuss it. That's wrong. His mansion is located in the most beautiful Gatis Bay in Spain. At this time, he has already suffered from a successful hurtful dress, and there is a beautiful woman in the house. It's his wife who works hard, but he doesn't know that his favorite husband is a killer. She always thinks that she is a businessman who is a teacher's duty. Unexpectedly, Chai Lang actually lives a double life. On the one hand, he is a ruthless top killer. He had a luxurious manor by the seaside, a young and beautiful wife and a lovely son. When he looked at all this, his eyes would be infatuated and intoxicated, but his other side would always pull him back at the right time and tell him that it was not the right time. At the very least, as a professional killer, Bane would never be allowed to default casually. It was not just a matter of money, but also a matter of dignity and reputation. None of them know the secret behind Chai Lang. They only know that this mysterious aunt often doesn't go home, but she can make quite money. Moreover, this aunt has strict rules and regulations, and her mother-in-law took a photo of their family of 3. Remind me immediately. Don't send a circle of friends. Everyone knows this rule, for fear that it will affect my uncle's affairs. Just as I was trying to greet everyone to sit together for dinner, Chai Lang's mobile phone suddenly received a message from the bank. He hurried back to the study and looked at his mother-in-law and shook his head. This uncle seemed to be working all the time on holiday. Chai Lang returned to his notebook, opened the bank account system, and the bank's reply was that the identity of the payer could not be confirmed. It is located in Munich, Germany, and this place is the city where he assassinated Manfred. Chai Lang frowned deeply. It seems that he has to return to Germany to work hard. When he was having a happy meal with his family, he saw a scene that discouraged him. His unlucky husband was dressed neatly and carrying a bag. It seems that he will go on a business trip soon. I don't know how many times he has done this. Chai Lang said goodbye to everyone with a sorry face. She wanted to leave by taxi, but her wife worked hard and insisted on driving him. This may be his only chance to stay with his husband for a while. He sent Chai Lang to the airport. At this time, he was already a little in a trance. He began to feel unconfident whether his husband really loved himself. After kissing his little delicacy goodbye, Chai Lang waited for his car to completely disappear at the end of the road. He turned his head and scared him to get into a taxi on the second floor. He took off his wedding ring and then told the driver to go to the bank in the city center. I didn't expect his wife to work hard. At this time, she was shopping nearby. As soon as he sat in the car, he found a taxi passing by in front of him. And the person riding in it seemed to be her husband's hard work. I believe I didn't mistake. She quickly called Chai Lang. But the phone showed a seed of doubt in blind clothes, so she planted it in her heart and grew up quickly. On the bus bound from Munich, Germany, Chai Lang received a phone call from a female client who met alone last time. The female client actually proposed to meet again. After all, it was a deal with disagreement. They wanted to make sure all the details were foolproof. He had to interview Chai Lang within 48 hours, or he would change another person to do it. Chai Lang, who had already received a deposit of 1 million yuan, was still very concerned about $1 billion business. He hesitated again and again, and finally agreed to meet the woman in Munifei. The reason why the female client wanted to meet again was because of his vision behind him. Unexpectedly, Chai Langang reluctantly agreed to the pressed price, and the female customer immediately asked a key question. She didn't understand why Chai Lang was still in Munich. After all, it has been more than a week since the last mission to assassinate Manfred. The female customer thought that Chai Lang didn't do the last task cleanly, and he was worried that it would affect their task. What Chai Lang was most worried about still happened. He assured the female customer that there would be no impact. But he knew very well in his heart that the list in Munich had to be solved as soon as possible. Chai Lang came to the bank and found the company name of the deposit payer in the bank, in the name of a business partner, which was a small company with no name. The company's website displayed photos of the annual celebration. Shiba Lang recognized a familiar face, Elia, the one whose leg he broke. Shiba Lang realized Elia arranged for her to assassinate her father, but because he broke her leg, she didn't pay the final payment and sent her an unpleasant greeting. Shiba Lang laughed, tripped by this kid.
Oh dear.
During this period of time, Yuji could finally be solved. This top killer started his ex-wife's plan again. He was good at changing banyan trees, and once again changed clothes and came to the funeral parlor in Munich. He pretended to be a leg, a down-and-out man with old anxiety, and wanted to choose a purpose for his just-dead mother. As she talked about it, she couldn't suppress her grief. Deep in love, his migraine was also ill at this time, so she needed to take medicine immediately. However, she kindly asked for his car keys and trotted out to help her get medicine. He also had a panoramic view of the personal information and photos of the driver who delivered the car. It was time to close the net. At the same time, the hard work of the other side in Spain became more and more wrong the more he thought about it. The more mysterious she thought about it now, she couldn't help but enter Shiba Lang's study, turning everywhere she wanted to find the account.
When he rummaged through the wardrobe, his foot accidentally stepped on a pedal. He found the safe hidden under the floor and worked hard. He was worried about this safe because he couldn't open it, but his brother was very experienced. He told him that he could call the maintenance staff to reset the password after finding the maintenance list of the safe, so he rummaged through a huge information box. He remembered that all his husband's receipts and documents about the house were put in it. However, after searching for a long time, he couldn't find the maintenance list of the safe, but he turned out the architectural drawings of this mansion. At the beginning, this manor was the result of her husband's efforts to decorate. A problem was found in the drawings, and a hint was hidden in her husband's study, but she never knew about the existence of this room, so he returned to the study with his mother and brother. After a while of groping, 3 people found a password door behind a mirror. Try hard, her mysterious husband's secret was about to come out. Chai Lang, who was far away in Germany, didn't know that his hometown was about to be copied. He dressed up as a driver and killed the driver unrelentingly, replacing his identity. In the funeral home, Elia, who had received all her father's assets, attended the funeral. Because of her thigh injury, it was extremely inconvenient for her to move, so she could only walk with crutches. The security captain, who used to be in charge of her father's safety, is now responsible for protecting Elia. To everyone's surprise, the person responsible for driving Arya was the jackal, who was still disguised as the driver, suddenly killed the security guard of the co-pilot guard. This scared Arya silly, and Shiba Lang suddenly turned the steering wheel and let the car leave the motorcade. The security captain saw that the situation was wrong, so he quickly chased something. Shiba Lang drove the black Mercedes-Benz sedan all the way into a path. As a result, a car in front of him suddenly backed out and blocked the way. He raised his hand and shot the rear tire of the Mercedes-Benz car. Even so, Shiba Lang didn't panic. He slammed the steering wheel and drove the car into the maintenance tunnel.
Finally, he deliberately broke the bracket, blocking the pursuer from getting rid of Shiba Lang, and drove the car into the nearby alley. At this time, he could catch up with his employer. Cute Leah still didn't know who she was. When Shiba Lang turned around and pointed a gun at her, she finally figured out who this person in front of her was. He also wanted to explain why he didn't give money, but Shiba Lang didn't want to stop at all. He got off the bus and took out replacement clothes from the trunk compartment, took out a homemade time bomb and threw it into the compartment, and then left from the side path. At this time, the security captain just arrived, but the airwaves of the bomb flew first. Chai Lang finally solved the problem of being surrounded by his own project, but another big trouble followed, because he had seen his wife's family broken into his secret room from the monitoring road of his mobile phone. Her multinational passports and grooming equipment were all exposed to his wife. Maybe this big trouble is the most difficult thing for Shiba Lang to solve. As a top killer, where should he go from here?